Okay, so good morning. It's really cool to be with you guys. We're in Iceland. It's in the middle of the ocean, and everything we do here is somehow affected by, controlled by the ocean. So it's maybe easy for us to remember that, but of course the whole world is regulated by the ocean, the atmosphere and the weather patterns and everything. And yeah, it's pretty scary that we've been fucking with the system quite badly. And in Iceland we see this very clearly with the global warming, which is very real here. And we have moments where we feel it might be kind of nice. We see the different fish are moving north. And I was discussing this with a friend yesterday, and he pointed out the scary fact that as all these kind of fish are moving north, we're running out of north. So anyway, so we're up here in the north. Iceland is a pretty interesting platform to work from, and well, I'm here with Áslaug, who is one of the main ministers here. We should maybe introduce ourselves. Do you want to say a few words, Áslaug?
Yes, so I'm the Minister of Innovation, Science, Tech, everything we need to tackle this climate crisis. I have the most excited portfolio in the government, definitely, and I'm glad to be introduced as one of the main ministers. I think that's good. But I'm also a fisherman, former fisherman, so I'm used to this stuff.
Yeah. How was it? How was it that you became a fisherman?
It was amazing.
Yeah. How did it happen?
I was just on a waiting list to go.
This is a thing in Iceland, a waiting list?
Yeah, and then I got a spot when the people on the boat wanted to party in the Westman Islands one weekend in the summertime. So I got a free spot, so I went for a week to fish mackerel in the Sea of Greenland. So it was a good experience, and yeah, I don't know how it is useful for my job today, but it is.
No, it must be. It must be, because you saw the thing kind of itself.
Yeah, definitely.
No, and then we have Maka also.
Yeah, hi everyone. So my name is Margrét Ormslev. So I'm with Transition Labs. So some of you were here maybe last year when David and Kjartan launched the Transition Labs kind of concept, kind of leveraging Iceland to become a place to provide data points for climate tech companies that need to scale globally. Because when you're a climate tech company, you're working with hardware, you're working with the real world, you're working with nature-based solutions. And these types of things can take a while, let me tell you, many years. But in Iceland, we have so many assets, we'll come back to that later, that can help all these companies on their journey. And Transition Labs is partnering with the highest impact climate tech companies all over the world to help using Iceland as the lever for their global path.
Iceland has some really interesting natural and societal service, I'd say, that work really well for some of the companies that have come here. Iceland, of course, is kind of getting known as a hub for DAC companies, mainly because we have green energy and a place to put the CO2 that gets captured down. But there's other interesting kind of ways we can help. Do you maybe want to say a few things about how we sort of try to help the companies that are coming here and provide a great environment?
Yeah, I think Iceland has so many potential to be, and we see that, to have an environment that these companies could flourish, not only where we are located in the world and our green energy, but also our research and science and our expertise that comes along with, of course, our strong economy and fisheries and our lifelong learning with the sea, but as well as we have the more shorter communication routes, and we have now quite strong ecosystem and agile innovation ecosystem, and we are seeing all of these companies coming to Iceland or being built up in Iceland, that we are punching way above our weight. So I believe that our system and what we have to offer can be quite great also to test for piloting solutions, testing solutions out, meet the hindrances before and try it out in Iceland before scaling in the world. And it's one thing that, of course, Icelandic entrepreneurs and people here need to think globally from day one, because we are so small. So, and that mindset and our mindset on that everything is possible, þetta reddast, like we say. I didn't realize how important it is for the entrepreneurs and the science thinking, because when I was in Singapore a couple of months ago, I was trying to learn from them, because they like think way ahead, longer than a term of a politicians, and I was like, I can learn something here and from the universities there as well. But they really envious on our thinking and how we are not afraid to just try things out and go for it. So that's something we also have alongside with everything else.
Yeah, and if I might add, I think that reddest mentality is really important because when you're in building new stuff, new technology, new markets, new everything, regulations and other things are not really prepared for this. So what we found after having operated in Iceland for now 1.5 years is that the fast feedback loop within the Icelandic system, both for technology and business development, and in particular business development with regulations and discussion, is extremely valuable to advance and accelerate this journey. And because we're talking about the ocean, I think it's very important to note that Iceland will take this for granted, but I don't think this is the case all around the world, actually, that we have for decades talked about sustainability. All the stakeholders have talked about sustainability together. We have the experience from the maritime sector, because we actually kind of killed the ocean for a moment where we were like, no, okay, we need to stop now. We need to, everyone talk together, find a mutual solution and move forward, adjust regulation, businesses to take note of the scientific data, etc. This has been ongoing for decades in the maritime sector. So there's nothing new in Iceland, with regulators talking to scientists, talking to business, talking to public people. So I think for climate change and developing climate tech companies in Iceland, this is an essential part to adjust all regulations and moving forward fast.
Yeah, I think also the commitment of the government on supporting climate tech, climate solutions, the innovation, environment, science will be and is greatly important for companies that are here or want to come to Iceland to build up and pilot their solutions, as well as politicians can't only, it isn't enough to just raise taxes and put on more regulations in the green field. We really need to build the environment so the tech, the science,
Exactly.
the solutions, they really flourish.
Yeah, this is a very, very small country, and sometimes I say, kind of to be provocative, that all the emissions that happen from Iceland, CO2 emissions and other emissions, will matter like nothing to the history of the world. But if we can provide a platform to accelerate some solutions and innovate and then export them to the rest of the world, we might be able to help a little bit.
Yes. What have you seen from the companies that are coming through transition labs? What do they see in Iceland?
As an Icelander, it's fun actually, because I've lived abroad a lot of my life. I was in pure software, not thinking about any physical stuff at all. And then I came here. I moved back a couple of years ago, and had this realization that people are coming here because there's a lot of expertise in the maritime sector, it's been said to me by several people that Iceland has the best run fisheries in the world. Mm-hmm. It's almost embarrassing. I have a hard time saying it because I can't really. Anyway, very smart people have told me this. No, it's hard to think that you're from a place that it might be best at something, and then the fact that you guys, the politicians are so fast moving and so kind of ambitious about these things. And then Iceland has interesting natural resources, from the basalt rock to the green energy, the industrial heat, which is quite plentiful and it can be useful for a lot of processes, to the fact that we have an open system. People can move here from pretty much everywhere in the world, and we have had a lot of researchers, technologists move here recently to work on these projects. So yeah, these are things that weren't obvious to me. But it's been very, very awesome to see how Iceland can serve as a hub, also just in the middle of, between Europe and the US.
Yeah, definitely, and how we have, of course, invested in the fisheries with a more sustainable way, and how we are utilizing our resources, using 90% of the fish. I mean, all of this learning and what comes from this inside our university, in our knowledge base, even though we are small and we need more manpower, more expertise as well, we are really good at things that could be is useful. We are seeing it already happening, very useful for piloting some solutions in this field especially.
Yeah, and I would like to, because we've been talking about progress and acceleration, etc. And I mentioned that Transition Labs is only like 1.5 years old, but I would like to share some of the progress and some of the projects we're working on at the moment to get kind of sense that things are actually happening and there are a lot of exciting talent out there. So just to back up a little bit for those that don't know, so we at Transition Labs, we saw that there's so many talented teams and entrepreneurs all over the world. We really didn't want to like establish our own climate tech company. We thought we could better partner up with them. And the IPCC is always talking about all hands on deck. We need all the solutions we could get, and we need them actually yesterday. So we decided we're sector agnostic. So even though DAC is a good technology to deploy in Iceland, there are many others. So we're working with, for example, Rockport, a Norwegian company that's developed a method and technology to take glass and concrete or construction waste and turn it into circular, environmentally friendly building aggregates that can be used for concrete or turf, artificial turf, etc. We're also working with DAC companies, such as Noya, that's aiming to do their pilot here in Iceland, and we're helping them figure that out. Another company that's not taking CO2 from the air directly, but using the ocean, is Carbon. So a similar, trying to make a pilot in Iceland so that the blueprint can be used for global growth. And because we were mentioning the Icelandic government, having also a trustworthy government and good regulation makes it a credible blueprint. So any pilot anywhere in the world is not essentially as credible as it can be in Iceland. So that's a plus as well. We also have launched and secured all permits for Running Tide, our partner. And they have like this smart and simple solution promoting ocean health using macroalgae and ocean alkalinity enhancement. And now they have like a 30,000 square meter industrial plot near the harbor in Grundartangi. They have a large research facility in Akranes where they're like growing their algae spores, and they are developing huge instrumentation and data modeling to do their field experiments at scale in the real world. So that's done, and we're working on others. But we're also working with international research projects that are trying to combat ocean acidification, because the ocean is really important to us here in Iceland. And then actually we were discussing like other assets like land, because in these projects we are always working with municipalities. We have a good working relationship with them. We're looking into actually turning the landfill in Reykjavik city into an eco park with some partners. So that'll be an interesting thing to do, possibly. And we have 51 hectares of land up in Akranes as well, 40 minutes from Reykjavik for non-locals, where we are planning to do like a climate park. It's a new term. We've heard circular parks, we've heard eco parks, green industrial parks, but those usually are always around the by-streams themselves. But climate park could be like a symbiosis of climate companies with as little waste as possible, but of course synergies in utilizing assets, etc. So a lot of exciting stuff going on with only 1.5 years in, and we've grown the team and we're going strong. So if there are any great climate tech founders or teams out there that want to have a chat, just grab us on the coffee break.
Wonderful. Any last words? I think we're running out of time.
We are running out of time. Yeah, it has been wonderful to work with Transition Lab and see what have happened over the last months. And I think these companies are showing us how important it is to have an environment that they can test their solutions. And this is, I think, a field that we can even do much better in. We have seen that from working with you. So I'm just looking forward on working on that and building even better environmental system for the innovation sector and the science.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Mata. Thanks, Áslaug. Thanks
you,
for being
everyone.
here. Next up is Brad, who is amazing, by the way.
Bye.